Okay, here comes Jimmy. I'm here, live and well. Got my little microphone set up a little differently today, which you may notice. There we go. Now it's coming up instead of down, so I talk into it. Yeah, this is what all the, all the big shots do this. So I figure, what the hell, I'm a small shot. There we go. Sorry for the little noises, but I'm trying to get this thing set up right. Yeah, there it goes. So that's pretty good, huh? Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I got my background music on. Yeah. Listen to this. It's my Epidemic instrumental, royalty free. It's a 3-hour track. So I can talk up to 3 hours and this thing will just keep, it has little different things. It's a nice, energetic kind of instrumental music. Yeah. There we go. 3:08 a.m. this morning. I made these little things. My blood oxygen was 95% yesterday. This is my, what do you call it? My home screen on my phone, which I do a print screen, and then I throw it up in my photo album so you can see it. Delivering today is this Series 10 watch. Yep, there it is in all its glory. No red dot. It's cellular, and it's Wi-Fi. There's another view of the screen. It's an OLED screen. There you go. These are the aluminum models. My model is titanium. Yep. I have so many health-related look at that. Oh well, I'll play. I have a Series 8 watch here, which is you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to focus in on this. Might as well do an update. I found the Series 8 watch. This little guy sitting here on my... oops. See right here? Yeah. Used to be charged. It's been in the closet forever. So I figured I may as well get it up and then get it out. I need to figure out what the serial number is. I'll throw it up. There's a place in Tampa called Mac Me an Offer. MACME. Mac Me an Offer. Yeah, that's what it's called. So I'm gonna see what happens. There we go. There we go. So I'm installing the latest software on this watch. It's sitting here on this little charging thing without a strap or anything. Yeah.
It's 9:45.
And then I'm going to send it out. Statistically, I'm going to send it out, answer questions. It's clean. I just, used this unscented, non-perfume soap pure. This right here. And wiped it off and got all the, on the back of the watch it gets all nasty. So I'll see how much they'll make me an offer on that. A lot of people keep these watches for a period of time. So even though the new ones are Series 10, someone is willing to, this cost me $800 for this thing. So if I can get $300 for it, and then I have the watch I'm wearing, I get another $350. That's $650. That just about pays for the Series 10. Yeah. So what the heck? All right, there's our leader. Yeah, I just read a story about how the Democrats are hoping they're going to squeak this one out. I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to vote this time. Well, a lot of people are going to vote. But a lot more are going to vote because they're suffering with this inflation. And, they went to a black barber shop, okay, in the black community, which is fine. Everyone, birds of a feather flock together. There's nothing wrong with that. And they had, a bunch of guys getting the haircuts. They had the guy that owned the shop. They had the guy that's next to the shop. They had a couple of people that just get their haircuts there. So Fox and Friends in the morning, I think it was yesterday, they, basically interviewed it. Trump is sitting there on a stool. So they were asking questions. People, this is an old, I guess I am old compared to many. But they asked these fellas, what do you think? And he says, hey, I want to go back to this guy because when he was president, I had more money, I had more savings, and I could buy more in the grocery store. And, people vote with their wallets. So I think a lot of people are going to get off the couch and go vote and get this guy in office because the whole situation was a whole lot better, with Trump in there. Kamala is just going to be an extension of what we got. She's going to spend more money. You're going to have more inflation. Prices are going to go up. They're not coming down. And the bad thing about inflation is you add it up. In other words, so if it was 9, and then it was 6, and then it was 4, and now it's 3. So you add it together, 9 and 6 is 15, plus 4 is 19, plus 3 is 22. You're going to have another 3%, that's 25. So you keep adding it adds on top. It's not just, it's 9 and now it's 6, so, prices come down 3%. No. Prices don't come down. The only time the prices come down is when you have deflation. And you really don't want to have deflation. Because that's a form of, crap. That's when the economy goes in the toilet when you have deflation. So you don't want to do that. Yeah, no. No deflation. All right, let's take a look at some of our pictorials. I'm looking at this one. No, let's just go here. So if you look over in the left of your screen, I'll tell you what, the media really, they love to slam Trump. I mean, I watch some of these things that he does, and they just tear his arms off. I mean, it was just disgusting. Yeah. Lufthansa agrees to a record $4 million fine for its treatment of Jewish passengers. Apparently they weren't treating them very well. Harris zeroes in on black men. Trump focuses on women as both seek to fire up the key voting blocks. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard to get fired up over that woman because she doesn't, she has yet to tell anybody what her positions are in anything. I mean, I'm not I'm not a Trump no matter what guy. I'm a, let's see what else the other people got to offer. Well, they're not telling you. So it ain't good. And I agree with some of the remarks he makes. I don't think she's smart enough, or, has enough intellectual curiosity, whatever you want. You gotta reach down and answer the questions. And you can't worry about everything that you say, so therefore you say nothing. That's what the handlers do. When she's overhandled. Because she's not completely dumb. Now, she may be uninformed, and I think she is uninformed. To a certain degree, She hasn't been paying attention. I don't know what the hell she pays attention to. You can't be a complete stupid and become a U.S. Senator for Southern California, basically. But that was a while ago, Now she's been a VP for 4 years. She hasn't done much. 92% of her staff has turned over, quit, left her, because, she just, she's not a happy person to work for, apparently. I don't know what else to say about it. So, that's what's going on with that one. Trump aide. Let's see. Polaris Dawn Crew. Trump has a town hall, turns into an impromptu conference. All right, let me tell you what's going on there. He didn't. It wasn't an impromptu concert. They were having a town hall, which means that the governor of South Dakota was asking him questions. She's standing up on the stage, with him. So, all right, call over on the left. What's your question? So then the microphone, is over on the, left side of the hall, which is housing, thousands of people. And so they call out the question. And he answers the question fully. He answers the question again, And then she has a few remarks. And then over to the right side of the podium. What's your question? Mr. Jones? So Mr. Jones introduces himself in the microphone to the former president, Donald J. Trump. He asks his question. Trump answers the question, takes 8 or 10 minutes to answer the question, goes into all kinds of detail about whatever. And then over on the left side of the arena, some person collapsed. It was hot. It was whatever it was. Person collapsed. And apparently it was somewhat serious. So, is there a doctor in the house? So, doctor runs over and sees to whatever this, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but she fell over. And the problem is, these people stand online for, 2 days to get in these things. And, so she flopped over, probably dehydrated, has residual heart problem, whatever, But the doctor had to attend to her for, 10 or 15 minutes. It just went on. And Trump always stops. Says, doctor, take your time. Help this woman. And everyone in the arena is very accommodating because, you can't just ignore it and carry on with the program. This woman's, fighting for her life, so to speak. And, the doctor's, he's doing what he's got to do, and then EMT comes, and then they transfer, the medical treatment over to the, the first responders, and they put her on a stretcher, and then they start carrying her out, him, her, whatever. I don't know whether it was a him or a her. So they start to do the town hall again, and then someone on the right side of the arena falls over. Apparently it was hot in there, 80, 85 degrees, 88 degrees. Trump says, hey guys, can you open up the doors? Secret Service, get over there and just have an armed guard at the door and open the door. It's too hot in here. People are falling like it. So, doctor, you go over here and take a look at this person. Yeah, so. In the meantime, they're like playing music. So Trump says, hey, play some of the music, that you have on before my speech and after my speech. Let's get some music going on in here while we're waiting for the second person to get treated. So now we're coming into like a half hour, 35, 40 minutes. Jesus. These people were, having a major problem with their health. I mean, they fell on the floor, EMT comes, the doctor's there, and a little resuscitation maybe. Anyway, so Trump looks over to the moderator and says, I don't know, we've answered enough questions. How about if we just listen to some music for a while? Can we just do that? So they played YMCA, the bunch of his music, and they just played music for 10 or 15 minutes. These other people were getting peeled off the floor. You had the EMT show up, and they're carrying them out, on stretchers. So he decided to just, the hell with the rest of the questions. Let's listen to some nice music while they're attending to these people that aren't feeling well. So that's what he did. So it was actually very nice. I was actually live watching this, on YouTube Live or whatever. I have a commercial account with YouTube, so I get it. I can watch anything I want to watch. And YouTube is very, it's amazing. I've become a YouTubeaholic. This is a Simulcast, by the way, in case you forgot. It's a Simulcast with 3 social networks at the same time. It is a live broadcast on Facebook Live. I started off with that one. Then I went to Twitter Live, which is doing that too. And then last but not least, YouTube Live. My handle is the @ FAU4U. the letters FAU, the number 4, the letter U. FAU for you. And why is that? Because I've been teaching at FAU for 20 years. Literally 23 years, if we want to be more precise about it. 3 years with the continuing ed, and then my first year was like 2003 as adjunct faculty in the College of Science, the Charles E. Schmidt College of Science. Dr. Harlan was good enough to meet with all the department heads in the College of Science, introduced my resume to them, plus I had 3 semesters worth of student evaluations, which they could peruse. I gave them a stack of them, electronically, PDF file with all the reviews. They were all good. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun class. Everybody liked the class. They paid $400 for the class, including it included the book I wrote. Principles of Digital Photography and Post-Image Processing. That's my book. Published by Pearson Education. It's the largest publisher in the United States. It may be in the world. I don't know about China and all that, but Pearson Education is a catalyst. It's like getting a Rolls Royce. It is the best. All the big fine textbooks. That you have to pay. Over $100 each. So when you buy your semester textbooks, it costs you $700 just for the stupid books. And there's something about having, they have them electronically, but there's something about turning the pages and say, you shall read, pages and understand pages 30 through 70 in preparation for our Thursday class. Yeah, mine wasn't quite that bad. But I wrote this, I wrote it, and it's actually 24 lessons. The theory is that you get 2 lessons a day, per class. So we try to do 2 of them a day. So, segment number 1 and then segment number 2. Try to get through 2 of those in the first day. And then the next week or, the next day, it could be like Tuesday, Thursday every week for, 5 or 10 weeks. It's either 1 class a day for 10 weeks or 2 classes a week for 5 weeks. So we go through, 2 a day. So I wrote 24 of these lesson plans, which has digital images, and then, their image editing techniques that are possible through the software. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, the software that's built in, like I can show you here. There we go. See, this is, you've seen this. This is the photo albums. And, we can edit these images. Like we'll top on this one. All right, we'll hit the if you see these things on the bottom row here, 1, 2, whoops, not that one. 1, 2, 3, the 4th thing, it looks like sliders. So we're going to touch on that. And then you see what comes up on the right side is all these, notice as I lift them up, we have auto, exposure, balance, brilliance, highlights, shadows, contrast, brightness, blackness, black point. Then you have saturation, and then you have vibrance, which is like a fine tuning of, so some of the more subtle colors, will get emphasized or de-emphasized with the vibrance. And then you have the whole warming effect. Here, so you can watch, and I'm going to do this slider. It's set at 0 right now, so we can go up here, and it brings like the blues, literally. That's an improperly exposed image. So then we're going to come back to 0 again. There's 0, and now we're going to warm it up. And you see how it gets warm. It's like someone just turned up the burner. Well, that's too warm, so we're going to bring that back to, like there. So there it is. And what you try to do is you look for something that's white. And because white is all colors, black is no colors. So you try to set your warmth on a white to produce white. You don't want something that, like a piece of paper, if it was on the driveway, you wouldn't want to show that, that had a bluish color, or a reddish color. You want to have it so that it looks white, because the paper is white. Yep. Well, there's nothing on here that instantly shows, some whiteness. So we can slide it up and down, and we can see that's too much that way, and that's too terrible that way. So we just go up and down, and let's just up and down, and let's just say, I guess that's why it was set to 0, because there doesn't seem to be we don't seem to need any warmth. It looks like it's illuminated, with the proper white balance. Anyway, so those are, I'm going to cancel. We're going to discard any changes. Cancel. There we go. So now we have our image again. We're going to say done now. There you go. Anyway, so I have collected 200 images from my inventory of images, and I got a lot of them. I'll show you how many if you're interested. We go right here to settings, and then go to general, and then go to about, and we look. This gives you an indication of what's going on with this iPad. It looks like it's under AppleCare Plus. You can see that right in the middle of the screen. AppleCare Plus means no matter what happens to this Apple iPad, I'm covered. I don't think you can lose it. Let's just press on here and see if let's see, accidental damage, hardware something, express replacement, and 24/7 priority access, to the technology people. They have those phones and internet connection things 24/7. So they have free crews. Let's say a person does an 8-hour shift. There's plenty of people, and they measure it, and they count, and they figure out how many people they need for USA activity, and then, for the daytime, and then the nighttime, and then the very late time. Yeah. I've called them at 2 or 3 in the morning and had them on the phone, ask them. And I love asking a question that they can't answer. because I hate to ask a stupid question. I want to ask a good question. And every one of the questions that I've asked, they have had to go back to the textbooks because, I ask good questions. Because I know a lot about this stuff. I've been teaching for 20 years, 15, 20 years, 23 years, all kinds of students. And my students are like PhDs, MDs, a number of, people that do cosmetic surgery. They're very interested in digital photography because they take pictures of their patients. And then they take pictures when they fix their patients. And then they take pictures 6 months later when they're all healed up and look marvelous. With facelifts and, you do this and that and tummy tucks and that. I mean, there's so many things that these surgeons, I got mixed up with my S words. Yeah. So they are very interested in the digital photography and how we can set the color balance. Yeah. Dr. Mann. You probably heard of Dr. Mann. He's been on all kinds of TV channels, so forth. He's taken my class 2 or 3 times. And every once in a while he brings a friend along. I said, Dr. Mann, he paid for a class. I said, you can go back to my class anytime it's being taught and you don't have to pay again. You can just walk right in, sit down, and pick up, where I'm at and just carry on. Or you can just come in and do whatever you're going to do, and then when there's a break or something or other, you can wave me over and you can ask a specific question, or you can ask it in front of the whole class. That's fine. Class is about 20 people, so it's not a huge auditorium kind of a thing. It's a laboratory class. Everybody either brings their own computer, or I have computers for everybody, with the Photoshop elements installed. And, that's part of what the College of Science provides for me, is a room with up to 24 computers, seats. And they can either use the university computers or they can, use their own. I suggest they bring their own laptop in. That way they're familiar with their laptop, they're familiar with their operating system. And because Photoshop Elements is extremely popular either on a Windows system or a Mac system or an iOS system, like an iPad I have right here. And just touch it, and there we go. And I have another iPad here. Anyway, so I brought this up. Let's go back, because you want to see. I'm going to bring this right to the middle. See that green switch there? VPN, Virtual Private Network. I suggest you do that if you're not. And see, right opposite that is photos. Follow the line all the way over. 94,529 images I have on this thing. 94,000. Holy mackerel. I have 1 terabyte of storage. Oh crap. I have 732 applications on there, which is like 250 applications too many, which I need to take them off. I've taken them off this one. Let's see how many I got on this one. That's a place where it's just wasted space. So I hit the about, 94,000 images, there they are. See, this has 534 apps. This has 732. So while I'm listening to something or reading something, I'll go to my system page here and start wiping out applications that I don't use. And bring the number, to 400 or somewhere near 400. So there's a couple hundred apps there. They're just taking up space. And then the available space here will increase to 450 gigabytes instead of 350 gigabytes. So I'm saving 100 gigabytes. That's a lot of bytes. These programs are, somewhere between 20 megabytes to, 10 or 30 gigabytes. And then they have, holes, buckets, that hold things. Particularly if they're like digital imaging kind of stuff. So when you open up the application, it has these buckets that it creates, so that when you're working on something, an image goes in the bucket, so that when you close the software or reopen it, those images are readily available to you, so you're not hunting through 40,000 images, on these iPads. So I think what it takes a lot of work to get that done. So I'll tell you what I think I'm going to do. This iPad has been pretty much scoured. I went through and I was erasing apps like a crazy person. So I can go all the way to the bottom right here. See, here's my whole library of apps. They're in buckets. Suggestions, recently added, and you see this yellow. No, you can't see it. I'm sorry. We're going to go back to here. And we'll look at recently added. It's not in. This is working on a virtual private network. The virtual private network is CyberGhost. So it costs like $10 a month. You subscribe to it, or you can pay $50 a year. You have a 7-day free trial. But what a virtual private network does is that it gives you let's call it a layer of insulation between you and the world. So you communicate with the virtual private network, and then it communicates with whatever you're talking to, and vice versa. So it's like a sieve that keeps track of what's going on, but doesn't give away your identity, and it doesn't give away your location, and it doesn't allow access to anything else that's going on in your device. There's a lot going on, with these iPads and iPhones, the MacBook Pros and the MacBook Airs, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes inside of these the delicate software arrangements that are going on, with the sophisticated operating system of an iPad or an iPhone, or a Mac. There's a lot going on. So the virtual private network, kind of closes all the doorways so that the cyber bad guys can't get into your system and start stealing your data or your money. Or your identity. So, and you can see at the top of my screens, if you look all the way up on the top, it shows, that some of my apps are taking note of my location. That's all right. It shows bars here, and I have four bars. That's all you can get. So I have a strong signal coming in. You have the network, with your 4G, 5G, and all that. It looks like the baseball field. And then you have in a box VPN, Virtual Private Network. You want one of those. and you go to ghost.com and they'll set it up for you. It's safe. It comes, with a highly recommended, and I've been using it for a couple months now. My recommendation to you to have a VPN does not remunerate me. I'm not being paid by anybody. I'm not being paid by VPN or Ghost, the Ghost people. But I've read about them, and I wasn't using a VPN because it's like it slowed down my system, and that was a couple years ago. So I read about this Ghost VPN, and I made some inquiries, and I said, well, I don't want to use this thing if it's going to slow me down, because I got a lot going on here, and I can't, I don't like it taking me 10 seconds to get through to read an email when it should take no seconds. It should be milliseconds. And they assured me that it will not slow my system down at all. It is so fast, it'll appear to be totally transparent. Well, those are the words I like to hear. Yes, sir. Let's see what's going on here. So here's my Apple Store. All right. I have 2 orders that are latent orders. That's my Magic Keyboard. I have an Apple Watch, which was supposed to be showing up today. Let's see what's going on. It is shipped. That green bar goes over. When it goes all the way to delivered, then there should be a little box right at my front door. I have a message there, leave at the front door. There it is. That's what I'm getting. Whoops. Gosh darn it, I'm sorry. Apple, Apple, Apple Store. There we go. Instead of searching through 734 applications, just type Apple, and then the Apple this and Apple that. So here's my Apple Watch. $749 exactly. Let's go here. Let's go back there. I got message that it was shipped. Let's see if we have a. You can see that. It's shipped. I don't know why this is not up to date. Bag. Let's just go to some other places. There we go. Your order has shipped. I was trying to, hit a couple of screens so that the software would go online to their situation and update my screen here so you can see. So it's shipped. Hit this button for tracking. All right, let's see where it is. If we can tell. The tracking should tell where it is. It's UPS. There we go. Now we're in the UPS site. Okay. Hello. It says James. That's a good sign. This is my account. I have an account with UPS. It's a free account. I use UPS all the time. I have an account so I can ship stuff, receive stuff. Of course, anybody can receive stuff. So it says on the way. And as of 1 a.m., it was in Louisville. So it doesn't appear to be anywhere close. It's going to deliver today between 12 and 12:30 and 2:30. So let's pull that down. Get that to reload. That should be Yep, so arrived at facility, Louisville, Kentucky, so it must be on an airplane. It came from Canada. All right, let's go back and look at the second package, 12:30 to 2:30. Let's see what this one is. Show more. Ships from wherever the heck that is. It's 1 pound. So this is the wire that I bought. That's also in Louisville. Probably in the same box. This should be the watch. There's 2 packages. Sister packages. This one right here, Shenzhen, China. This is my MacBook Air. I sold my MacBook Pro to Mac me an offer. Instead of make me an offer, it's MAC, for Macintosh. So they're being cute. Literally, you type macmeanoffer.com, and they have a whole bunch of stuff that you can buy, stuff that they buy, rehab it, recondition it if it needs any, clean it up, polish it up, package it, and resell used stuff for people that would like really nice, high quality. Because I just sold a MacBook Pro to them. That was a backup computer to my little arrangement here. Sometimes you have to have a computer. You can't use an iPad. I love iPads. So if I can get the software on an iPad, that's magical. Like this software, Ecamm Live, which does my broadcasting stuff here, handles my soundboard over here. This is it's all loaded into my computer system here, which is 24 gigabytes, M3 chip, I believe. Let's take a look. I can click on here. Oh, I don't know if you can see this screen. I doubt it. All right. Never mind. Yeah. Let's just take a peek here, just so I can tell you whether it's general about. It's an M2 chip, 24 gigabytes M2 chip. The one I'm getting today or tomorrow, today I think, is an M3 chip. I keep turning this stuff over so you don't end up with a real obsolete. This stuff is super fast, and this is going to be good for years. 3 or 4 years. I won't need to update these MacBook Airs. Beautiful screens. They're 15-inch diagonal screens. These are all old iPads, which except this is an iPhone, which I use. How's this guy doing? 45 minutes remaining to update the software. It's like taking forever. Yeah. There's a lot going on here, so I can understand that there's stopwatch. There we go. I've been on the air 49 minutes and 31 seconds. As you can see, what can you see that? Yeah, microphone's kind of in a way. That's all right. That's helpful to Jimmy, so I know how much. When it gets over an hour and a half, I'm ready to shut it down. Sometimes I can talk. I'll tell you what. If there's someone out there listening, I can talk. So we're at Real Clear Politics right now, which is an application on, that I have on this iPad with 700 something applications. The Real Clear Politics app will not be deleted. Anyway, so here's stories that you can read. What if Joe Biden was a better candidate all along? I think he is, because he knows how to talk. He may answer a question that'll aggravate people, but this Kamala person, she doesn't answer any questions. It's all this happy. Well, she's not happy anymore. Remember, it was joy and happiness, and now she's Grandma Grumpy. All right, let's go. Here's Monday. This is Tuesday. So these are all the polls that were taken as of last night. Florida. Trump versus Harris. Trump is 53 and Harris is 43. That is done by the University of North Florida. They did a poll. Their students, they dial for dollars, they ask the questions, they record the numbers, and Trump plus 10. New Mexico, Trump versus Harris. This was done by the Albuquerque Journal. Harris is up 9 on that one. The National Trump, done by USA Today's Suffolk poll. You see it is third on the list there. National Trump versus Harris. Harris 50, Trump 49. I'm going to touch on that one. Whoops. All right, so we're going to look. All right, so the MOE's got to be, 3 or 4 points. Because I can tell from here you have about 1,000 people were contacted. You can add them up. You got 273, 330, that's 700. That's 600. And then we have another 349, so that's 949. So it's about 1,000 people were contacted. So usually that's an MOE of 3.5. We're trying to look here to see if they actually state an MOE. 20% of the people, 207 calls were in the Northeast. 336 calls were in the South. 242 calls were in the Midwest. And 215 calls were in the West. And this whole science of polling, for a national poll, is you want to call people from all the regions, and then you have to call from the statistically selected city. So that's how polling is done. You go all over the place, and you make these calls, and you have a class and a student body, let's say, and they make the calls and they record the numbers, and some had college, some had high school. You can see the top of the list here. So they answer, they keep you on the phone for like 20 minutes and ask you all these questions. And of course then once all these numbers are then cranked in, entered, manually typed in, they answer these, they give the respondents, 7 pages worth of questions. Holy mackerel. So they give you, they give you all these statistics. And that's what they say when, you look at the inside the poll, because they dig down into these numbers, that you don't necessarily see on the headlines. Here are the average earnings under $20,000 a year. 114 calls were made to people that make less than $20,000 a year. 145 calls, they were under $50,000 a year. 134 calls were people made that $75,000 a year, but greater than $50,000. under 100,000, 75 to 100,000. 147 calls, 171 calls were responded by people that made somewhere between 100 and 140, and 187 were 140,000 or more, and then 102 people didn't want to say. They weren't undecided. They just said, none of your goddamn business. So 10% of the poll they didn't want to say. Well, that's okay. So this information is scoured, by these media types and the polling people. All these candidates. The Harris organization, they have a couple of polling people on their staff that review all this information. And it's important information. Now the question is, did they spread the calls out properly so that when you see these summary totals, does it make any sense? So we're going to go back. So the USA Today Suffolk poll has Harris up 1, but the margin of error is 3. So that makes that a statistical tie. And they should just say tie. Because, for them to indicate, well, she's, 1% better is really not a statistically acceptable answer, when you go through these polls, because it's, plus or minus 3%. And that's why they call it a margin of error, MOE, would be on the top of this thing. And they didn't actually declare the MOEs. When you look at all the, let's hit this one right here, the top one. That didn't give me anything. These guys do a lot of polling. There you go. Now I'm going to expand this and bring it over in the middle. Now this is what you want to look at. So on the top of it, it says polls. The next column is the date, whenever the polls were taken. So you really want to cut it off for the last 10 days. You don't want to go back further than 10 days. This is the 22nd. So the 12th, that's it. So you want to cut this poll right here. Because these old ones, are too far behind, the current news cycle. So I like to say to the current week. All these people, all kinds of people are getting polled every night. And it's a science, actually. If they do it accurately and properly, the calls are spread out. All right, so look at the columns. It says polls, and then it has the date, the second column. Third column is how many people were sampled. Okay? Well, this M consultant, there was 8,570 people contacted. Wow. So when you have that many samples of people, see what the MOE is? Margin of error, 1%. When you only have 1,000, the MOE is 3.1. A little more than 1,000, 2.8. But, usually when you got 1,000 people that are contacted or less, the MOE is 3, 3.5, 4. So if you see a big MOE, there were not a lot of people contacted. So this is a national poll done by, these different. Rasmussen is a very respectable. See, there's a 1% margin of error. 3,384 people were contacted. Harris 47, Trump 50. This has got to make the Harris people really nervous, because Rasmussen is a very accurate. They're not D's and they're not R's. USA Today is a Democratic-leaning polling bunch. But even there, it's Harris up 1. Harris should be up like 6 because they lean Democratic. And unfortunately, the people they speak to, there's too many Democrats in the pool. You don't want that to be. Ideally, you have 50% of the respondents are Democrats, 50% of them are Republicans, right? And, there are people that are Republicans that would rather vote for the Democrat, and vice versa. So, but, you want to make sure the ages are spread out. You want to make sure you got the same number of D's and R's. And Rasmussen will force more calls to make sure there's a proper balance. And then, you have to know what cities you're calling. And, if you call too many Democratic stronghold cities and you get too many respondents from them, it'll skew, the numbers. So you want it balanced in polling. So that way the campaign, right? You've got the campaign organization. You got a lot of professionals that are paid millions of dollars to try to steer their candidates and to decide where they're going to have speeches, and what are they going to say and all that stuff. Yeah. So, but Rasmussen has an excellent reputation. So they contacted 3,384 people between October 10th and the 21st. So that's through yesterday. They got a lot of them. So the MOE is only 1%. So Trump is up 3, which is beyond the margin of error. So according to Rasmussen, it looks like nationally Trump is doing pretty good. Now nationally, people like Trump don't poll that well. They're usually down 4 or 5% at this point in a campaign, if you look at the last cycle and the cycle before, every 4 years. So for Trump to be up 3, that's got to make the Harris campaign very nervous about maybe they're going to lose this election. I'm going back here. We're going to go back to polls. There we go. And I pull it down a little bit. You see the squiggly, the thing in the middle? That means it's going to the internet. Make sure we have all the results showing here. Georgia is the Atlanta Constitution poll. Trump is up 4. Let's touch on it. There's all look at that. Trump up 2.5, up 4, up 2, up 1, up 2, up 1. Here's the MOE. See, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Because all these samples were between 800 and 1,300. Okay. We only want to look. We don't want to go back past the 12th. So you only have the top 4 here. So if we look at the top 4, up 2, up 1, up 2, up 4. You see that up 4, that's got to make him crazy. Because, it looks like Trump is, he's up 1, he's up 2, he's up 4. It looks like, let's go back. That was a Georgia one, yeah. So it looks like Trump is, in good shape with Georgia. Looking at least those last 4 or 5 polls. People say, the polls are... Well, the polls are only no good when they don't say what you want them to say. If they say what you want to say, oh yeah, the polling results look real good. Oh, Lordy. So, national, New York. Harris up 19. That's probably, Harris 58, Trump 38, 39, so she's up 20 in New York. So, doesn't look like Trump is going to take New York State. We go down here and look a little further. Wisconsin, it's a tie. If it's inside the margin of error, they're ties. So Arizona, up 3. Let's touch on this poll and see what the MOE is. And they have here's a summary. See, MOE 3%. Yeah. They sampled only 800 people. So they probably tried for 1,000 and they only got 800 that would submit to the torture. It's really it's laborious, to go through all the Q&A. Some of these polling organizations just ask 10 or 15 questions. Some of them, they keep going asking. Your age, your average, your income. They try to demographic you like crazy. New Mexico, Harris is up 9. Nevada, it's a tie. National, according to USA Today, it's a tie. It says Harris up 1, but it's really a tie because it's within the margin of error. Rasmussen, National, Trump up 3. We just looked at that one. So Rasmussen, he's been used. He's the one you want to take a look at. Whenever it says Rasmussen, you want to see what the result is because those are some of the best. Here's 2 more Rasmussens. Biden, job approval. Disapprove wins approval by 12 points. Right direction, wrong direction. Wrong direction by 27%. So 34% of the people say we're in the right direction. Those are hardcore D's. And everybody else, 61% says wrong direction. That's an important, when you got wrong direction that high, chances are your people are going to stay home. They're just not going to bother. I don't like the way things are going and screw it. I'm not even going to vote this time. That's a lot of people just stay on the couch. Okay. It's not worth it. If people want change and they can tolerate Trump, he's a tough guy. So what? You don't have to invite him for dinner. You don't have to make friends with these people. You're hiring them to do a job. That's what this voting is all about. You're hiring them to do a job. And what I want is a person that's going to be kick-ass, change things around. This economy sucks. We got, the grocery, forget 25%. It's 100% inflation in the grocery stores. I pay $8.50 for a pound of butter. It used to be $3.50. Now it's $8.50. That's more than 100% increase. And you go through, doesn't take an awful lot of stuff to get a $200, grocery bill when you go through the line. $200. And you buy what? 12 items. 15 items, you're at $230. You know, you have a real full, what do you call it? Yeah, of course, you're $400. It used to cost $200. Now it's $400. It's 100% inflation on food. You know, I don't know how they get 20%. There ain't nothing that's 20%. You know, bacon is up over 100%. Jeez. You know, half and half. Jeez, a quarter of that costs $3.50. It used to be $1.75. Now it's $3.50. It's double. Everything in the grocery store is double. Well, people are going to vote with their wallet. And they're going to say, you know what? I liked it better when I can buy stuff at the grocery store, and it adds up to $200. Right now, the same thing, bag of stuff costs $400. You know? You're going to pay $7 for a dozen eggs? Get out of here. That's why you see Trump up 3, Trump up 2, Trump up 5, Trump up 7. And these national polls, Harris up 2, Harris up 1, that's not good, because she should be up 6 or 7. And she's not. She's up 1, which is a tie. They shouldn't show, the plus ones and plus twos if the MOE is 3. They should just show tie. Because if you got a margin of error of 3 and the party is up 1, they could be down 2 instead of up 1. That's what a MOE of 3 means. So, let me say that again. Let's look at this one. Harris up 2. 51.49. Well, if the MOE is 3, that means Harris can be up 2 or she can be minus 1. That's the sway of the margin of error. Yep. So you just put a T there for tie. Everything that's inside the margin of error, show it as a tie. But when you got plus 7, that and it's Rasmussen, who, let's touch Rasmussen, we'll go right to their reporting. They're focusing on the Senate race, but they got statistics for the, here you go, in the presidential race for Donald Trump, who won Ohio in 16 and 20, appears to be headed towards another victory in the Buckeye State. 51% say they like him, while 44% favor Harris. So that's outside the MOE. See if we can see what the MOE is. You got to dig in here and read all this stuff. Well, I can tell you, they surveyed, 1,000 people, so the MOE's got to be plus or minus 3%. There it is, plus or minus 3%. You see it right there, in the middle of your screen. Yeah, which leads to a 95% level of confidence. All right, so let's go back. So this is real clear. This is Rasmussen. I'm going to go back. There we go. There's Rasmussen. So he's up 2. But the margin of error is 3. So he can be up 2 or he could be minus 1. That's Nevada. That's where he came up with no tax on tips. You got a lot of service people, in Nevada. Remember Las Vegas? It's in Nevada. Texas, Trump 5. Yep. Ohio, Trump 7. For sure. National, Trump, Harris, plus 2. But the margin of error is probably 3. Let's touch on it and take a see. I'm just showing you how you have to read this stuff so you don't get. Harris holds narrow lead over Trump. That is not a statistically accurate statement. Let's see what the MOE is. 47-45. He's up to 9% are undecided, which that's unbelievable. That just means they're not interested and they're staying home. How can you be undecided? Let's see what the MOE is. And let's see if they... margin of error is 2.2. 2.2. And this is a 2-point spread. So it's a tie. 47-45. But, it could be 45 points, 47. It could be switched around. When you got a 2.2 margin of error, they contacted 2,000 people. I guess they had too many. They had a lot of undecideds in this and it's registered voters, not likely voters. So that leads to, registered voters may not, some of them people won't show up. They registered 10 years ago and, screw it, I'm not going to vote. I don't really like my candidate. I'm just going to stay home. That's what happens. Right track, wrong track, that's not good. That's not in the, when you got 54% of the people say or 60% of the people say you're on the wrong track. We got to change things around. Well, that's why they ask those questions. And when they say Biden job approval, they mean the Biden administration. And disapproval wins by 11. So, it's really Biden and Harris. That whole situation is terrible because there was no one voted on this. Clooney, really? A former actor or an actor, and he's upset. He's a big donor. He's in the donor class. So he and, the Speaker of the House, the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and Schumer, and maybe a couple other donors got together and said, we got to get Biden out of here because Trump's he wiped him out on that, on that what do you call it, debate. It was terrible. Trump, was in total command of his answers, and Biden was like he hadn't slept in a week. He said, well, he was sick. Well, they should have postponed the debate because the performance was terrible. So they pulled him out. Trump says it's like a boxing match. So the first round, I beat this guy up, but I didn't knock him out. So we're getting ready for round 2 and say, we're gonna swap boxers. It's still the same match, but you're gonna box. For the next few rounds, you're gonna box. Kamala Harris. You can't. There was no voting on any of this. The Democratic Party had nothing to say about it. You just had a couple of donors, and George Clooney said, "Oh yeah, we got to get him out of there. He can't run, another 4 years." So they put her in. Now she never won any delegates in any of the states. She was running for president and dropped out first. Biden ended up, winning the primaries, and he went and he beat Trump in an election. No, they pull him out and they put her in by fiat. That's the backroom deals. If the Republicans did that, they would be screaming bloody murder. But no, the Democrats do it. Well, that's the way it goes. There's no operation in the Democratic National Committee where 5 or 6 people can get together and just yank your guy out and put someone else in who never won a single vote from anybody. Yeah, so there's not a lot of conversation about that because the Democrats control the media, and you got Trump versus all the media and Harris. So he's running against all the networks and Harris because they don't want him in. And he's going to win this because the people are going to rise up and vote their wallet. The inflation is terrible. They're going to have more inflation because she's talking about giving away all kinds of money. And she's got no way of getting money except raise. So you're going to raise taxes, which is going to make the economy go further in the hole because she needs to spend money. The only thing they can do is give away money. So, Trump's thing is drill, baby, drill. Get all our natural energy and sell it into the market. And you make you make $1 trillion and you pay down the debt. Paying down the debt that'd be a new thing. I'll bet you in year 3 starts paying down debt big time. The other part of the energy sales will balance our budget so that he can basically afford to no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits. I mean, when the hell did that start? You pay in your whole life for the Social Security, and then they take a third of it. Who said you pay taxes on Social Security? Where'd that come from? Well, it didn't come from a Republican, I can tell you that. Well, Trump is going to reverse that. No tax on Social Security. There are 60 million people on Social Security benefits. Now, if that doesn't get them off the couch and have them vote, nothing will. That would get me off the couch. I'm off the couch, But that was like, because he started on no tax on tips, and then it was no tax on overtime, and then he came up with no tax on Social Security benefits. Now he can, he'll try to run that through Congress. And if you can't run, I don't know if you could do an executive order on tax policy. But if these people give him the Senate and give him the House, elect him president, he'll get his first 2 years in office for the second term. He'll be able to do a lot of things to square away this economy and bring the inflation way down. It doesn't reduce prices, but he'll earn baby earn when you drill baby drill. And if you're making money, then you can afford the high prices. And that because you don't want to go into a situation of deflation. That would not be good. So you cover inflation by increasing wages. And you have increasing wages because the economy lights up. And he will light up the economy. It doesn't, it's just a few simple things to turn this around. Democrats don't like to do it. But if Trump gets reelected, that's essentially a mandate. Get things back the way they were. And that'll be his prime directive. And he'll have a whole bunch of people that are going to help him do exactly that. When an administration comes in, they bring in 200 people that they like. The Secretary of Transportation, the Secretary of this, Secretary of that. You got Elon Musk that's going to come in there and start optimizing some of these, what do you call it? The department of this, department of that. So they're going to throw him in. Trump wants to Get rid of the education department. Who the heck needs an education department? Let the states give the money to the states and let them spend money on education. It's like the same thing with the abortion thing. Put it back on the states. That way you've got, a little microcosm of each, groups of states, and their legislatures and their political process will determine, the balance of, what makes sense with regard to how many, you can't be pulling arms and legs off, kids that are prenatal, in the 39th week of a 40-week period. What are you kidding? You're committing genocide. I mean, that's how I look at it. I'm not a woman. I don't get pregnant, but if Marilyn came to me and she was 8 months pregnant, she said, "Well, let's go get an abortion." I said, "What?" She would never do that anyway. But that's a reasonableness. When you're young and stupid and you had too much to drink, and all of a sudden, you end up having sex with somebody and you turn out to be pregnant, and you're 17 years old. You may want to not start off your life having to bear children when you haven't even, got to 18 yet. All right. I'm gone. Bye-bye. Hello? Yeah, you weren't crabby this morning. You were crabby when you got out of the car. Yeah, fine. I'm going to leave in, it's, 12 o'clock, but I get there at 11:45 and get the seats there. Yeah, it'll be like 1:15. So 1:30. That's what you want, right? Yeah. You want me earlier than that? Yeah. So if well, Bill's good for an hour. So 12 to 1. Yeah, 5 after 1, he's walking out the door. So if you don't want me there, I'll just sit there for 10 more minutes. Yeah, okay.